Hello everybody, my name is Terrence Jones with VenomVita.com, and today I'm going to do some wine blending. You'll notice I have an actual blender in front of me, and I'm going to blend wine in the blender to try to aerate the wine, or hyper-aerate the wine, or hyper-decant the wine as some people call it. This is an idea I got from an article I read today in Bloomberg Business Week from a man called Nathan Myhrvold. He's a molecular gastronomist, I suppose you would call him, who wrote a book called Modernist Cooking, The Art and Science of Cooking. You can find it on Amazon for only $500. 1,200 pages. It's a tome on science and cooking. One of the things he mentions in the book, I believe, is on wine, that aerating wine in a blender is a great approach to improving the quality of a lot of wines. Well, we all know about decanting wines and using things like the Venturi and the Rabbit to help aerate the wines, but why not go to the extreme and just whip up a frenzy in the blender? Well, I'm curious, so I'm going to try that here today. I have a bottle of a local Paso Robles wine from Stanger called The Bench. It's a blend from 2007 of Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, and Tempranillo. I'm not that familiar with the wine. I did have it once before, but I think it could improve from some aeration, so let's see what happens. I've poured a little bit here that'll serve as our baseline, and let's blend this one and see what happens. In the article, Nathan Myhrvold suggested 30 to 60 seconds. I think I'll try 30 seconds, and I don't know. I just got this blender today from Amazon.com. It's 15 bucks, I think it's perfect for blending wine. Let's see what happens. It really foams up a lot. It's really frothy. Two more times, 2 more pulses. Let's see what happens. It's like a Guinness stout with all the little tiny bubbles cascading down. It's really nice. All right, I think that's good enough. It's making a bit of a mess here. All right. Well, let me pour this out. This blender is meant to fit in your cup holder in your car so you can take the smoothies to work, but I don't think that's such a great idea for blended wine. Let me try the unadulterated wine first, just to see what the baseline is here. Very fruit forward. There's definitely a red fruit component that hits you right up front. There's something a little bit deeper, a little darker fruit in there as well. There's a little bit of an oak characteristic in there. In the palate, the oak is very obvious. It's the same, very lush, juicy red fruits, a lot of acid. The sides of my tongue still, tingle with that acid. It's a juicy wine, great with food, I think. It seems very well balanced. The tannins are pretty soft, as a matter of fact. It's good. It's good. It's a nice blend. But I'm really curious here. If this works, I'm going to be so excited to have a new technique. I don't mind, going against convention and trying, these things. In fact, I've even microwaved a bottle of wine once to heat it up. Don't tell anybody though. This is a very different glass of wine. In the nose, that bright fruit is a little bit muted. And I'm getting a little bit more of a savory characteristic to it. Maybe more of an herbal, kind of a like a bay spice or bay leaf character to it. It's definitely not as bright though, that's the main thing. In the mouth, the palate shows a little more texture. It's a little lusher in a way. That acid that I saw in the first glass, it's definitely not as strong. It's there, but it's not as sharp, I guess. The wine is a little bit lusher, and still seeing the same tannins in the finish now. I would say that the wine is a little bit more approachable, actually. If you're going to drink wines like I am here without food, the aerated wine is easier to drink. It's softer. It feels better in the mouth. Let me try this again real quickly. Yeah, still going back to the original, it's a lot more wet. It just slides off the tongue, whereas the aerated wine seemed to stick to the tongue, was a little richer. It's a moot point, I think, to swirl the wine. There's definitely a difference. Which is better? I suppose that's subjective. This isn't a blind tasting, it's very subjective, but I would definitely say the aerated wine structurally is a lot more interesting. It's a lot fuller, it fills the mouth, the finish is a little bit longer, the flavor profile is basically the same. You might get a little bit more out of this one. It somehow seems to mellow out the brightness in the fruits, which I suppose could be a good thing. So, there you go. I definitely suggest you try this because it makes a hell of a big difference, and that's pretty cool. That is definitely pretty cool. Well, I hope this showed you something. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you try this. I would be curious to try this with other wines. Any wine. Why not try it with a white wine, or who knows what. See what happens. Anyway, let me know. We'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.